Hello and welcome to Vanessa Loves, where we have conversations about what really matters in a world where we feel deeply connected to self, others and the planet. And today it is my absolute honour and pleasure to be chatting with my bestie Charlotte. How are you, darling?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
Yeah, it's good. Do you know what? We're so used to chit-chatting every couple of weeks face to face. This is weird, but
Really?
isn't it? I know, weird seeing you on a little face on a screen. But I really am excited today because for as long as I've known you, 6 years, not only do we have a giggle and a laugh, but you have had something that has been bubbling up inside of you all these years. And we, like I say, we chat every couple of weeks at length about all sorts. But this has always been something that has been bubbling up in you. And I'm really, really proud of you and so pleased that you're finally able to give birth to it. And that is, so just tell me then, what is important to you? What really matters to you? What is it, this thing that's come up in you?
Well, as you know, I have 3 children, but my middle daughter, Monroe, has autism. And it's been a journey, an up and down journey, but it's been quite an isolating journey. And when I met you, obviously I said I wanted to start a blog, because really I think the journey is, there's lots of blogs out there and stuff, but there wasn't anything that for me resonated with me, which was that I wanted to not look at all the negatives. I wanted to think of all the positives. I wanted to encourage other people to see the positives. And I've been lucky that I always have that kind of, if there's something happening, I can always see the bright side. I can always see, the best way out of it, or the positive side. But some people don't have that. And unfortunately, when she was first diagnosed, I used to look for blogs or look online, and everything was very doom and gloom. And they'll never do this, they'll never do that. And it was awful. So I wanted to do something which would help mums that, like me, but that I wish I'd had.
That's
that
really
was the idea.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really profound because, we've talked about the fact that you've always been a career woman. You've always been fiercely independent. And what I know about you and what I love about you is that you are unapologetically independent, right? It's definitely fierce and unapologetically independent is how I would describe you. And that's why I love that spirit in you. So making that adjustment from being this career woman who's looked after herself and a youngish mum with now then 3 children. Your children are 18 to 3.
Yeah,
that's the gap. So you've been a mum. You've been a mum. Yeah, you look amazing. My gosh! But I know in the conversations that we've had, that transition at times has been really difficult. So
really, really.
So that's why, for me, when I heard you speak about why you wanted to do this blog, and it really was about helping other women with, not just generally, other women, self-care in a busy, frantic, chaotic world, whatever that looks like to them. But equally, more importantly, mums with special needs children, because if there's anything I've learned about you, and it's incredibly tiring being a mum, I've got 2 teenage children of my own, but I admire you, and I just think you do such an amazing job because your timetable is topsy-turvy, right? It's all over the place and it's 24 hours. So this has been something that's been really important to you. So really supporting women on that special needs journey so they don't forget about themselves.
So that's the thing. And I think all mums, we all put ourselves at the bottom of the list. Like, I mean, I did when I had Grady, and I was a single mum, and I was at the bottom of the list. But there was always time, like I had my career, and then I always made sure I went to the gym. And then on the weekends that she was with her dad, I did everything I wanted. So the weekends with her were really full of fun. So I really had every box ticked. But there were still times when, obviously, you're a mum. So if you're tired and they need something, you've got to do it anyway. So we sort of naturally put ourselves last. But when you add a special needs child to that, who you can't explain, I'm sorry, give mummy a minute, they wouldn't understand that. You really are at the bottom. And then when night times are spent like watching your favourite soap or which I gave up watching 8 years ago, but you know, when even anything, a box set, you spend I spend my evenings still to this day, 6 years later, reading, researching, podcasts, blah, blah, blah. So, but all those things were all a bit autism obsessed, if I'm honest. Like everything had been for so long about what can I do for her, what can I do for her, what can I do for her, that I totally neglected myself. As you know, I became poorly, and it just made me think, this is all wrong. Like I can't, you know, I've attended loads of your workshops and all those things then started to click into my brain and think, you know, I want to live till I'm 112. I'm never going to live till I'm 112 if I don't look after myself. Like I'm going to burn out before I'm 50 at this rate. So that's kind of, I thought if I did a blog based on that, it would make me do it, and then I could take other mums along with me, just to be like, yes, all this stuff is important, but we are equally as important, and it's
absolutely okay. Oh my God, wow. And it's thank you for highlighting that, because we can be seen as selfish when we admit that, but it's not until you have that burnout or you get so poorly that you hit that brick wall that you go, something's got to change. And you have absolutely become such an expert on this subject, autism, special needs, whatever it might be, that you have, and your visits to the hospitals and hearing you talk about what you are telling the so-called experts about this.
That's my favourite thing.
It's unbelievable. If you went on University Challenge, my specialised subject would be autism. Right? And Monroe is beautiful. She's 9 years old and she's already breaking boundaries from what autism is supposed to be like. And the interesting thing is that you said earlier at the top of the show, session, is that the research you were doing on it to build your knowledge and your expertise around this was really doom and gloom. And so is it fair to say that that's why your blog was born, to really give this such a different perspective?
Yeah, I mean, since then, what one of the things I did realise is it's how you're looking for information. So obviously I was depressed then and I was down. So what you type into a search engine will decide what you get out. So if you put in, will my child get worse, you're going to get stories of children getting worse. So one of the best things I learned was to type in a positive question, because then you'll get positive answers. And since then I have found some really lovely blogs, and not always just parents with autistic children, but they can have children with Down syndrome or, you know, other special needs. And there are some really lovely positive ones. And obviously life isn't always positive, so even the most positive of blogs will have negative bits, because that's life. But I haven't yet come across any special needs mum doing a blog that is focused on the special needs mum and not on the child. So obviously my story is me and her, but I really feel really strongly about focusing on the mum, because or the dad, if the dad's you know the parents really, but from my perspective it's the woman who's the primary caregiver, because it's relentless and it's lonely and it's a bit soul destroying at times and all those things. And if you don't find a way of filling your pot up the other half, you're just going to go down and down, and I can't afford for that to happen, and I don't want that to happen to any mum.
No, absolutely. Do you know what, it's interesting, because as you're talking I can just see your aura, your energy around you is just gone like that. It's weird.
I love talking about it.
Yeah, you're literally, your throat has literally just lit up. It's like, oh my God, Vanessa, what is it you're actually seeing here? And oh my God, I'm getting tingles as well. Oh, I love it, because each time we chat, and we've had some amazing experiences, we've worked together and we've chatted, when we hit on, there it is, what we call the truth, what's true for us. And this is where I have truly seen you come to life, in how you are able to express yourself, how you're able to communicate and articulate, and being able to, well, finally, God bless you, release your blog, Little Miss Monroe and Me. And how old is that now? It's about a month?
Yeah, it's only about 4 weeks, I think. Ironically, it was lockdown that, you know, you said earlier about me being a career woman. I've really struggled with I'm not going to be a career woman. I'm a stay-at-home mum, and it's not even a horrible thing to say, but I wasn't enjoying it. I kept saying, this is not enough for me. This is not enough for me. I need more. I need to do stuff. And then lockdown happened. And within the first day, I just looked around and I knew I could keep us all safe. I knew I could keep us calm. I knew I could manage everything. And I have. I've done 2 summer holidays back to back. And as you know, normally by the end of summer holiday, I'm like ripping my hair out.
Yeah.
My kids are happy. I'm happy. Aww. And it's almost like lockdown needed to happen to give me the push to do the blog.
Yeah.
And to make me realise I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
Like this is my thing.
Absolutely. And why is that? Tell us your favourite quote, please.
Well, so I have a tattoo with my favourite quote down my back, and it says, "Your greatest contribution to the universe may not be something you do, but someone you raise." And it makes me emotional even saying it, but it was a bit of I saw that quote and I just thought, you know, my thing doesn't have to be that I have a job in the West End and where I get paid loads of money and I can you know, pay for my own mortgage and stuff. My job has been changed for me. I didn't I didn't consciously choose this in this body, but you know, it's just been changed. But I could still do really great things, just not in the way I thought.
Yeah, well, because you know, you could. Is it fair to say maybe you could say, do you know what, I didn't sign up for this. You know, yes, I wanted to be a mum and I wanted to have a family and raise a family, a happy family, and maybe this isn't what I've signed up for. But the word I've just written down here is adjustment, and you've really adjusted so beautifully to right. So now this is my thing. And if you can see something like that quote like that, and that speaks to you in that way and it resonates, because I know that when we have spoken, you just absolutely love, like you just said, first day of lockdown, this is it, I can do this. You know, you almost needed that reminder to just shift from the old story of this is who Charlotte was to actually, this is why I'm here. And you've only got to look at your kids. You're such a beautiful family, and you just, the stuff you do with them, it makes me smile every time I see what you're doing with them.
Slightly feral, but that's the joy.
And they're beautiful. They're absolute sweeties. And, you know, so recording and journaling, and you've kind of had this journal going on in your head, haven't you, about this is what I want to write about, this because we've spoken about I've had another idea for a blog, and you've been jotting it down, and but all of a sudden you just went, I'm going to do it. So why the blog? A chance to record your thoughts?
For lots of little reasons, but like you just said, I actually started writing this for myself when Monroe was about 3.5, and I obviously have been rereading those things, and they're just so totally different now from like my mindset then to my mindset. It's a shame I didn't share a lot of them, but it's been, I feel like, so I'd be driving along and think, oh my God, that would make a good blog thing. So I'll just hit record on my phone, or I'll write a little note down when I pull up. So I've got like hundreds and thousands of all these things. I felt so heavy, like I should have been doing this. And then I started to feel guilty, like I should be helping all these mums, you know, I've got to do this. But I can't tell you how good I feel writing it down, and I genuinely don't even care if one person doesn't read it, although I've been really lucky. I've had some lovely comments.
You have,
cathartic to realise how far we've come, and to go from those days when, you know, my first paediatrician appointment, when they diagnosed her, for them to say, because she was totally non-verbal, you know, she may never speak. And I sat there with a smile and come out and thinking, well, you know, she's happy, but cried myself to sleep for weeks on end. To think I didn't accept that. No, I'll find a way. And we found a way to teach her how to speak. And now I can't get her to be quiet. I mean, she was singing from 1 a.m. till 5 a.m. this morning. So
brilliant. Brilliant. I love the stuff you post about it. She dresses up and sings and she's playing and again, in the 6 years that I've absolutely. And in the 6 years I've known you, because she was not talking when I first met you, and now chattering away, we can hear her in the background, and hi Monroe darling, how are you? And she'll say hello back, and you know, you can hear her having conversations. And of course now with her younger sister Dixon at 3, they're like, you know, chattering away, aren't they? is
But
wonderful.
before I came up here, I heard Monroe's new thing is she used to say it very artificially, but she's really started to say it a lot over this lockdown, is I love you, mummy, or I love you, whoever she's talking to. And then she said, I love you, Dixon. And then Dixon said, I love you too. She calls her Mo. I love you too, Mo. I was like, oh my God.
Melt your heart stuff, isn't it? But you see, what you're doing is you made a decision. You went, no, not me, not my child, not Monroe.
100%.
By recording it, journaling, effectively you're sharing your thoughts and your progression, the way, what your routines, what's working for you, what's not working for you, how you feel in the few
just not to accept the norm, not to accept the stereotype, they will do this or they won't do that, like to do the whole love thing. They said, she may not show empathy, and it used to worry me, because if she hit me or something and I would fake cry, she didn't care, and I'd think, like, if this would be heartbreaking to have a child who doesn't feel empathy. So I had to think outside the box and think, well, how am I going to teach her empathy? And that's the hard thing, because if you listen to other people, you listen to medical professionals about it, that it's very limited and negative. And I just won't accept that. There's no way the whole body can, if somebody who's paralyzed can learn how to walk again, then I can sure as hell teach my child to talk.
Good for you. Absolutely good for you. And by documenting all of this and your journey, that's the word I was looking for, your journey, not only is it cathartic, or maybe in the beginning you thought it would be cathartic and self-indulgent to help yourself get into that space to really understand what's going on for you, but in doing so, what you're doing is highlighting to other women, and not just mums, but other women, and not just mums of special needs children, but other women and other regular mums days, they say it, that kind of they're not alone.
Exactly.
It's totally okay. So you're really building a beautiful community where other people can go, oh my God, thank God I've had that thought as well.
Well, the other thing is, I had Monroe at the same time as some of my friends, and I found there's been quite on my part only, really. Obviously, I had to pull myself away because there's things that they were doing that we couldn't.
Yeah.
And then I feel like for some of my friends, if, say, we're talking about, their child's doing so and so, and then I complain about Monroe, it's almost like I win. My problems are worse. I've got the badge, and that's not true. And that's when I started writing things, and I quite often put, I don't think this is just for special needs mums, because mums of typically developing children don't get given any tools. You get given a child and you just got to get on with it. But when you are on a special needs journey, you do start to research and look into, like, sensory needs, or if a child is, before they're talking, they're whacking their head, what does that mean? I've read books now that tell you why children do that. So actually, for having Dixon, she was my easiest baby, because I understood stuff. So hopefully the things that I share are not just for special needs mums or dads, they are for all mums. And that actually, I think it's made my friendships with some of my friends better, because they see that I'm not wearing this special needs badge, like, I'm doing the harder job than you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's all relevant and relative to our lives and our journeys, isn't it? But that piece for me is really, really key, because we, generally speaking, we do see ourselves as separate. We do see ourselves as either poor me or why me, or this is the herd mentality. And this is why I'm championing you, and I'm in total admiration for you doing this blog. And this is why I wanted to highlight you in this way, is so that people listening to our conversation could go, I don't care whether it's about special needs or not. I'm bloody going to join in this conversation. I'm going to join in this community. I want to buy into, I'm getting shivers as I say it, I want to buy into whatever it is these girls are on, because I want to say, me too. I deserve some time. I deserve to look at myself and say, I matter.
Yeah.
And that's what I love what you're doing, is the response and the engagement, whether it's on your timeline or now on your blog. I'm loving the people going, oh, and the comments they're getting in, and it kind of, because it's not about what the thing is that you're dealing with. It's about the truth of the fact that, like I've just said, I matter. And how do I get okay with that?
To say, I'm really struggling. This is tough. And but we, you know, you have to keep a how's things? Yeah, great. Actually, some days they're really not great, and I need somebody to say, oh, this is really not great. And also, I found that because I don't have any like close friends who are on the same journey as me, if I say that, I feel like they feel they're not in a position to answer, but they are.
Yeah, because they see themselves separate. Yeah,
and they've been on this journey with me as well. You know, I've got some lovely friends who don't know any different. You know, they know Monroe as Monroe.
Yeah.
But I just think it's just, I just want it not to be so taboo.
Yeah.
And not to be so you know, oh, that's a shame. Like, and there is so many silly misconceptions as well. Like, I've even had it at hospitals where I'll say, oh, my daughter's autistic, and they'll say, oh, what's her thing? You know, like the Rain Man type thing. And I'm like, she doesn't have a thing. That she, you know, oh, she must be a genius at something. Not so far, no. But she's still great.
Good for you. Yeah, absolutely. So you want to smash the myths, and that's the other thing, is that people who follow your journey, and this is again the other thing that I've noticed and I admire in you, is that you don't allow that majority of the time to get you down. Obviously, you have times where we talked about it and just gone, do you know what, like we both have, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. But at the same time, we're also of the mindset and the personality to go, do you know what? No, damn it. This is, you know, I'm going to, so breaking those boundaries and those myths as well is, again, gives other women the opportunity and the permission to go, oh, good. If she can do it, I can do it. And that, I think, is what's really powerful, regardless of where you are in your life.
100%. And even because like the appointment that I had with the paediatrician when Monroe was diagnosed, and she was a lovely paediatrician, she was recommended to me, and after seeing many others who kept saying she wasn't, this lady had an autistic child herself. But the consultation is very brief, and it's very, you know, you may expect this might not happen, it's very on the negative side. If that's what you get from a medical profession, like I've actually spoken to over the last few years quite a lot of women who, for a friend of a friend, they'll say, can you just speak to my friend because you're so positive? And at the end of the conversation, they're a bit more excited about their child, when it's horrendous that you get this situation. And because of people not being aware, I think awareness is a lot better now, but you know, because of people not being so aware, or that a comment is, oh, there is no you know, it's a struggle. But if you've got a child with like Dixon's had hearing problems, that's just as bad of a struggle, you know.
And it's the label that can do so much damage, and that's what you're defying, isn't it? And that's again what I love about it. So where would you like to see, I suppose, what I want to call your work in the world? Because effectively, as Charlotte, as a mum of a special needs child, if you like, with the work that you want to do in bringing awareness and helping the woman, the mum, focus on themselves, because if we're not right, it's all going to go a bit tits up, isn't it? Effectively, you know, it's really important. Where do you see all this leading? Where would you like it to go?
Anywhere.
You're open. Woohoo! Open to possibilities. Bring it on.
Well, I want it to. I would really like it to be a success, obviously. When I first did it, I said, even if I only reach out if I make a connection with one mum, I'll be happy. But now I've made more connections with one mum, I am really enjoying it. And I don't really know. I like to think of it being like a bit of a bigger community. And, you know, obviously I'm really into like self-help books and all those kind of things. I have been since I was a young girl. It's nothing like any of my family. I've always been a little bit weird, they say. I've always been a little bit weird.
Off the wall.
But so yeah, I don't know. But then because of the journey that I've kind of been steered on, it seemed a little bit like initially, well, I can't kind of do that kind of stuff anymore. I couldn't do anything alternative. I couldn't do anything so and so. But now I think, who knows? I can do anything.
And you've really lent into what has come of it and what you've been presented with, and really turned it into
what has come to me. So I do now, like, you know, I'm massively into all my oils and all the things that when I had Grady was a bit like, she's doing baby massage. Like, people didn't do baby massage 18 years ago, but now everybody does baby massage. And you know, and now I feel just the time is right. Like people are more open to alternative stuff. You know, Monroe's very anxious, and she has phobias of medication, all that kind of stuff. So I've had to find different ways of treating her, and if she's got ailments and stuff, she won't take conventional medication. She's absolutely petrified. So
which is not a bad thing. Well, it's not a bad thing, is it?
There's so many children on the spectrum that have this, because you know what, my personal feeling is I think they're more evolved than us. They know what's good and what's bad, and they pick up on if you're in a bad mood. They might not be able to speak, but they'll know that you're in a bad mood. So they're a bit more advanced than us. We just see them as being less than us because they don't conform.
Well, that's what the herd mentality, exactly, the whole conformity thing, the herd mentality, majority of people that are already programmed, they've almost, I totally agree with you, because my Abby's nephew, my nephew Abby's boy is 4, and he's slightly on the autistic spectrum as well, and the very first moment I held him, he was hours old, apart from saying, "Hello, gorgeous one," my very first thing to him, I felt compelled to say, is, "What are you here to teach us?" And I only have to watch him, and I've had my own kids, 2 of my own children, where you watch them jump in puddles, and they're very much in the moment. But Isaac is, again, very different, and of course I spend more time around him than I do Monroe, but I watch him. He is really well tuned in. He's totally connected, incredibly bright because they're connected. So we have everything we need within inside us, and I totally agree with you that these children are more evolved than us, so they are here to teach us things, but because they are in the minority, they're seen as different. That's seen as then a bad thing, or
they're almost unprogrammable, like in a conventional way. It doesn't matter how much you try. Like, obviously you could tell a child typically, "Hold my hand" when you cross the road. Monroe doesn't want to hold your hand. She is not holding your hand. So you have to find another way. Like, she actually didn't physically like touch. So I had to paint her nails every day for about 3 months just to get her used to hand holding.
Brilliant.
And so now she'll tolerate it, but I have to explain to her, like, she won't accept just hold my hand. It's, can you hold my hand till we cross the road? She'll deal with that. But it's not, you can't bully them. You can't bribe them. It's so annoying.
Brilliant.
If they don't want to do something, they're not, and it's lovely, really.
I was going to say, how wonderful is that? What a brilliant example, and I love that. Unprogrammable. Wow, that is a really big lesson. And interesting, love what you said about hold my hand till we cross the road. That is moment to moment to moment, and so many of us don't live in that space, which is why we're all losing the plot a bit.
Totally. Well, it's almost like if I said, like, hold my hand, if you're not specific, she'll think, well, how long for? Like, forever? No thanks. So she's like, no.
I remember Abby saying to Isaac, "Watch the clock when Mummy goes to the bathroom," and she came back out the bathroom and he was watching the clock. You know, so it's really literal.
Monroe doesn't have that. So obviously autism is a massive spectrum, but she doesn't have that thing where she takes things literal yet. But I wish she did, because I find that hysterical. Like, that cracks me up. And no filter. Like, you know, I've read some hilarious things where people are like, "Oh, you know, my child done this or that," and I'm like, secretly I kind of wish that she would do.
Oh, I love that, no filter, literally. But equally at the same time, again, with fun being one of your top values, you know, you just things are never the same, really. Even though you kind of got to have your routine, you just got to be really adaptable to whatever it is. And I know that you have real giggles with them, don't you? The stuff you post, that random is a really great word, actually. And it's that randomness that tickles you, doesn't it? And that you can have.
The thing is, like I said, you have to. I think you have to find the joy in a moment, or in a day at least, because what's the point otherwise?
But
totally agree. You know, there are things that I probably shouldn't even say this, but anyway, it's in my head, so it's going to come out.
Good.
She's always had trouble toileting, but the other day she went to toilet in her Barbie Playhouse swimming pool. I was so excited because she'd actually been like. I didn't care that it was in the Barbie house. If you're somebody who's going to be so stressed about, you know, it's got to be done this way, you're just going to make your life a misery. Like, happy days. It was outside of a pull-up, and it was in a Barbie playhouse. I was so ashamed
Result.
I weren't in the pool.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing is about you speaking about that and coming back to, again, why you really wanted to do this was to support other women. It's not just generally just about the special needs thing, but helping women put themselves first for obvious reasons is you're helping people recognize that you can just lean into being flexible, because really we know, we've talked about this so much, God, we've had so many enlightening conversations, and that it really is just about leaning in and trying things on and being flexible and going with the flow. We don't have to be control freaks for our lives to be just so. It's really leaning into that flexibility, isn't it? And I'm really looking forward to watching your blog particularly evolve with what you share, the engagement, the community that you'll build, because other women will feel that it's a safe place to join in, communicate, engage, reach out, ask questions, and because it's very much about building that community in that safe space, isn't it? Making it okay for other women.
And even for myself, like I've had quite a lot of people actually, like obviously initially it's been people that I know or friends of friends. And because Monroe is nearly 9 and I've had people whose children are maybe a lot younger and they're asking me for advice, it's been really nice for me to say, actually, I don't know that yet, because Monroe's at that stage, or I can't get her to, with the toileting, say, for example, I can't get her to do that. But here are some books that I have and that I've read. Please let me know how you get on, because you might come up with some tips for me.
Love that.
And that's really good, because I definitely don't want to come across like I know what I'm talking about. No. I don't. I only know Monroe. I don't know anybody else's child. I just hope that a little bit of what I know might help someone else, and I hope a little bit of what somebody else knows might help us.
Well, what's coming up is that Marianne Williamson quote where she talks about the fact that who are we to dim our light? And actually, when you shine and when you talk about what's in your heart and you vocalize and you communicate and you articulate yourself, you're enabling other people to do the same. We're not. What is the point in diminishing ourselves and staying small because we don't think what we've got to say is worth it or relevant? When you do, you allow other people to do the same. That's what we need more of in this world. That's why I just love these conversations, because it just gives us an opportunity. And I love all the conversations we have. We have so much fun when we tried on all sorts.
Not for video.
Not for video. Do you remember that time? Where you said to me, "Oh, I always really love catching up with you. I always feel really good." And I said to you, "It's about the sex." He looked at me and went, "What?" But it was SEX, and I remember doing a video on it because you really highlighted something for me. And I think I left you an audio on the way home because I was like, "That's what it is: sacred energy exchange." So it is like I show up and I share, you receive and you accept and you love me, no judgment, no filter, all the rest of it, and then you give and I no judgment, no, and there's that sacred energy exchange, because so many times we like open ourselves up to people and it just falls into like a void or a black hole, and it's like, oh, you don't feel witnessed or heard or seen or held. So important.
Also, the nature, the trouble with that is when you have that so many times, because I'm an oversharer. I could put somebody on the bus and tell them everything because I don't care. I don't have anything to hide. And when you do that to so many people and you get so little back, that when I first met you and I was like, oh my God, she's just so lovely, and I felt like I was getting all this stuff. When you said that you felt the same, I was like, she's talking rubbish. That can't be true, because you don't get it. But actually, the more you have that and practice it, you realise you do have it with lots of people.
Absolutely. So I was glad I was able to highlight that for you, that really, because to be able to put that analogy to it with that kind of infinity, if you like, the sacred energy exchange is about, that is why and what I think communication and connection is all about. It's about and it doesn't even have to be in words or doesn't have to be articulated. It could just often just be a feeling. It's an energy thing. It's a feeling thing, and that's why we love each other, and that's why we get on. Okay? So one last question for you, lovely, and I never prep anyone for this, but it's always my last question, is what impact do you see your love or your vision, your work in the world, what impact do you see or would you like to see having on the world in the future?
I'm really frightened to say what's in my head. What I think is I think I think Monroe is going to do miraculous things. I really do. I have always felt that since the beginning, and I got totally pushed off my route with that. I listened to other people who told me, you know, to lower my expectations and just love her as she is. I think she's going to do something truly amazing, and I think I am going to do something truly amazing in recording that and hopefully encouraging her along the route. And I think, I don't know, I hope this goes somewhere, or this leads to somewhere where I feel fulfilled and I feel like this is what I was meant to do. Because even though I had a career before, I didn't feel like that's what I was meant to do. It just paid really good money.
You're talented.
I think I'm going to find my thing, and my thing is going to be tied in with making her a huge success.
And whatever success looks like for her and you and all the rest of it. But I think the key word, interestingly enough, that you said, the impact I think that this will have is that people will realise that it is totally okay and their divine right to live a fulfilled life, whatever that looks like for them. And that's what I heard from what you just said then. So if I don't know if that's a kind of an accurate summary, but
definitely.
I just you are.
There's just such a tendency to feel, like I said to you before, we've had many conversations about victims mentality and that kind of stuff, and I'm always, no, I'm not a victim, I'm not this and that. I listened to a podcast the other day saying about, are you addicted to autism? And it was literally like I'd been shot. You know, I was like, oh my God, I really have been. I think I've been coming out of it, but it's been lots of, you know, this is going to be my life till I die. She's never going to live independently. This is going to happen. And I don't believe that, but I allowed myself to go down this route. And now I'm like, no, she is going to live independently. I hope to one day see her married and children, if that's what she wants, or whatever she wants. I just want her to have a full life. And if I accepted what has been told to us before, she probably wouldn't have. But now I'm like, no, that was my plan. That was my initial instinct when I had her, and that's still my plan. And I just need to be a bit more forceful about it and look after myself so that I can help her along the way, because she is going to find it tougher, but that's all I know.
Being the example of what you believe and what your highest values are is just really the only way to live, isn't it? That's fulfillment. Yeah, bless you. Well, my God, my darling, I love you so much. You are such an inspiration, and I'm so happy for you that it's working. I'm so happy that it's your first few weeks, you've had such an amazing response. So where can people find out more about you? What do they Google? Where can they find out more about you and your blog?
Well, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, but I think if you just Google Little Miss Monroe and me, and then it comes up with a link for Facebook.
Brilliant. And I'll put that in the comments as well. Oh, it'd be really great to see how all of this evolves. You're a true inspiration. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for loving me as you do and always being there for me. And just goes without saying, if there's anything else I can do to support you in your journey, then you just have to reach out and ask.
Thank you for putting up with me for the last 5 years. I keep saying nobody's going to want to listen. No, who's going to want to listen to my stuff?
Oh, absolutely. I was the one that was like, when are you going to do it? Press the button. That's what I kept saying. Oh, sweetheart, I'm so glad that you did. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. Proud is just not the right word, then forgive me, but just really pleased to see it's working for you. So and thank you. Thank you for joining me today, and I really hope that you get some people reaching out and say, wow, thank you for creating this safe space for me to show up. So well done. Thank you, my darling. No worries, darling. I'll catch up with you soon.
Bye.
Bye.